Federal government set to complete the Kaduna power plant after more than a decade of abandonment. And Bayelsa State government intensifies efforts to mitigate floods, sensitizes residents on safety measures to avert the disaster. And Nigeria to achieve digital transformation to accelerate economic growth through the National Digital Economy and E-Government Bill. We're glad to have you join us on this edition of the Correspondents. It promises to be interesting and educative as well. I am Zenret Dingmun. Many thanks for joining us. We begin with the power sector. And there seems to be a ray of hope for abandoned projects in some parts of the country as contractors are being mobilized back to the sites to complete them. The Kaduna Power Project, stalled for 14 years, is one among the long list of projects receiving attention to add 215 megawatts of electricity to the national grid. And correspondent Joshua Ojito was among the inspection team led by the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, to the site and brought back this situation report.
It all began in 2009 when federal government saw the need to build a power generating plant in Kaduna. Contract awarded, workers and machines mobilized to site with vigor to complete the project within a time frame. However, issues arose and project stalled for 14 years.
This is a 215 megawatt power plant located in Kudenda area of Kaduna State, a dual thermal plant that will use both gas and diesel. It has 8 turbines, and when completed, it is expected to power most of the textiles industries here in Kaduna that have gone moribund for many years. The project is at 87% completion.
The multi-billion naira abandoned power project caught the attention of the federal government, and the Tinubu administration has renewed hope of the people of Kaduna State and by extension the Northwest region as the project bounced back to life.
And I'm actually impressed with the state of the infrastructure that we have here. It has 8 turbines, about 27 megawatts each. The generators are there with the turbines, and the transformers are there. You can see that the switchyard is also completed, while we also have a 132, 33 kV switchyard here. So I'm actually impressed, and I'm very optimistic that very soon this project will be completed and Nigerians will start enjoying the output of 215 megawatts of power that will be connected to the national grid. And whatever we need to do to make them realize this completion pledge, we have to do it. So far, it's all within our legal limits.
Under one roof, the Power Minister Adebayo Adelabu summoned all parties involved, issues addressed, and agreement reached for contractors to return to site immediately.
This job was going on well up to 2016 because of various things, and was 90 days to the commission when some people within this group, conspired with ANCON, wrote letters and said that ANCON should take over us.
I believe that we are everything. Whatever has been rumors, has been hearsay, has been wrong information, everything will come to an end today, and we'll see for ourselves the true state of this project. To say the least, I will say that we are not very happy with the scheme of things of this project. But we are not here today to apportion blame, but to look for a way of bringing this project to a successful conclusion in no time.
When completed, the power plant will boost supply and rejuvenate economic activities in Kaduna and by extension the Northwest region. Considered as the first and biggest dual thermal plant in Northwest, the Kaduna power plant will leverage the AKK gas pipeline and the Kaduna refinery for the supply of gas.
The project has undergone some difficulties, which we recently resolved, and the project is back, and the contractors are back on site. So I'm actually here to confirm the actual status, the state of the equipment, and to also discuss with the contractors, the consultants, the plan for completion of this project, which we have started discussing, and the role that the ministry also needs to play to ensure that the completion stage and the completion pledge is realized.
Adjacent the project site is another public-private partnership gas-powered plant under construction, and the completion will increase power generation capacity in the country. With federal government commitment to build a resilient economy, the Kaduna Power Plant is strategic to the realization of the vision, and electricity customers eagerly await when the 8 installed turbines in the plant will be fired to light up the nation and power its economy.
We are not done with the Kaduna Power Plant as Joshua Ojito joins us to discuss further on the project. It's good to have you again on the Correspondents, Joshua.
Thank you, Zenret.
Okay. Now, from your investigations, and can you tell us why the Kaduna Power Project was neglected, or should I say abandoned, for more than a decade?
The Kaduna Power Project, which is located in Kudenda area of Kaduna State, the contract was awarded in 2009. That was during the administration of then President Goodluck Jonathan, and it was to address the challenge of power supply in the country to increase generation. And the plant is to generate 215 megawatts of electricity. Initially, the Kaduna State government then allocated the land in Kakuri area of Kaduna State, but due to it's a residential area, so it has to be moved away from the residential area now to Kudenda, which is a bit outskirts of Kaduna State. And when the project was awarded to the contractors, government had initial complaints of fund. So the project was to be done in stages, stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. That was the arrangement with the contractors. And contractors went ahead and mobilized fund and commenced the project. Even up to 87%, because the turbines have been fixed, the switchyard is ready, so many things are ready on the project, about to be commissioned, because if a project is 87% completion, of course, it's nearing completion. But lo and behold, something came up. There were so many issues that AMCON has to now took over the company, the contractors then, and that was what stalled the project. So the contractors now abandoned the site, and since then they have been pursuing to continue with the project and not to continue with the project until the coming of this administration. Of course, the previous administration made all efforts whether the project can be completed, but that didn't yield any result until the coming of this administration, the Tinubu administration, that the current minister now have to look into the issue. If we have a gigantic project like this that will generate 215 megawatts of electricity, and more so with the commitment of the present administration, with a target it set for itself to wrap up generation to 6,000 megawatts by this year, completing Kaduna Power Project will be crucial and critical to the realization of these 6,000 megawatts. And that is why the minister looked into it and called the contractors, all the stakeholders, the TCN, the Kaduna Discos, to look into it, how the project can be completed. And all issues were resolved, of course, and the contractors is now back to site to complete the remaining part of the project.
Okay, Joshua, you said 87% completion. So how soon are we to expect the full completion of the project?
From my own investigation or findings, when we went for the inspection in Kaduna State, the contractors are ready. They are fully back on site, only that there are other papers that need to be harmonized with the ministry, that is the Federal Ministry of Works, Ministry of Power. And the contractors brought it to the attention of the minister that day, that if these are addressed, and also they need some oil, that is the transformer oil, and some of this oil have to be imported from outside this country. So they need also the cooperation of the customs service and all other stakeholders to ensure that all these things can be done within a short period of time. So from all what the contractor is saying, that the contractor is ready to complete the project and fire the turbines if the Federal Ministry of Works or Federal Ministry of Power will cooperate with them and make all the necessary and harmonize all the necessary papers that need to be signed so that they can resume work fully. So as soon as all this is done, I think the project in no distant time will be completed.
Okay, so let's talk about the economic benefits of the project, especially to the Northwest geopolitical zone.
This is a milestone project if you are talking about the power sector, because looking at the Nigerian power sector, the northern region controls the hydro generating plants. Well, most of them are in Niger State, talking about the Zungeru, the Jeba, the Shiroro, and the Kayenji Dam. And of course, we have the Dadinkowa in Gombe. And of course, we also have the 40 megawatts Kashimbila in Taraba State. And so all the generating plants in the north are all hydro. This should be the second gas-powered plant that will be now located in the north, apart from the one in Gerogu in Kogi State. The Kaduna power plant is the second one now, and it is a gas-powered plant. And the advantage of this gas power plant is going to leverage on the AKK gas pipeline that is under construction that will pass through that area. And it's also going to leverage the Kaduna refinery, all for the supply of gas. And also the power plant is designed in such a way that if there is no gas, it can use diesel to power it. But of course, it is not hydro. It is basically gas. And of course, in the entire northwest region of this country, there is no single transmission power generating plant except this one in Kaduna State. And Kaduna, when you talk about the electricity or the power sector, Kaduna is very strategic because Nigeria also sell electricity to Niger, and Kaduna is the evacuating point where Nigeria evacuates the electricity to Niger. So you can now see why the completion of Kaduna power plant will be so strategic, not only to the people of Kaduna and the northern and the northwest region, but even on our own trading, the electricity trading, which we trade to other countries outside this country.
Here there's another gas-powered plant under construction. Can you tell us a bit about the project and what economic and otherwise benefits they will bring to the nation when completed?
Okay, now the other gas power plant that is being constructed again, though it's a mini one, it's a small one, is constructed very close to the 215 megawatts one in Kudenda, is also in Kudenda as well. But this one is now jointly funded by the Kaduna state government and the private players. So this one is also to complement. It's all about generating. What Nigeria is trying to do is to harness all sources of generating electricity. We just want to take advantage of all our available resources to harness our generation and increase generation to address the power challenge in this country. So what the 215 megawatts of electricity, the Kudenda one is going to do, the Kaduna power plant is going to do, is the same thing that this one is going to do. But all what we are trying to say is that is to wrap up generation. Nigeria is a country of more than 250 million people, with more than 10 million, or with I think about 12 million electricity customers. So, you know, the 5,000 megawatts which the country is supplying to its customers is grossly inadequate. So we need more of these power generating plants coming up, no matter how little they are, either 10, 15, 20 megawatts, 100 megawatts, 200 megawatts. It can add up now to the generation.
Okay, Joshua. So before we let you go now, can you tell us a bit about your experiences as a correspondent covering the power sector?
Covering the power sector is very interesting. Why I say it's very interesting is that I'm a reporter or a correspondent covering the power sector in Nigeria, and as well again as electricity customer. Therefore, I also feel the heat the same way other customers are feeling. But when reporting, you have to be objective in reporting. You don't put your emotion being a customer. You have to report from the point of knowledge, from the point of facts, what you gathered. So no matter whether I have electricity or I don't have electricity, I have to now be objective in my reportage. So what I'm trying to say now is that covering the power sector is very interesting, but like I said, while reporting, you have to remove your emotion, being an electricity customer, and report from the point of knowledge.
You seem to be doing really well, Joshua. And thanks a lot for sharing your contributions on the program. We hope to see you again some other time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Zenrate.
All right. Now, still to come, National Digital Economy and E-Government Bill to come on board. And that's after this break. Join us again.
Fellow Nigerians, this period may be hard on us, and there is no doubt that it's tough on us. But I urge you all to look beyond the present temporary pains and aim at the larger picture. All our good and helpful plans are in the works. More importantly, I know that they will work.
We're glad to know you're still there. The program is The Correspondents. And now let's talk about flooding. Bayelsa is a state exposed to perennial flooding. So, to mitigate the impact of flooding, particularly in the lowland areas of the state, relevant stakeholders are advocating a sustained follow-up to Master Drainage Plan, increasing sensitization and enforcing the state town planning regulations, while residents are advised to desist from dumping refuse in drains and canals. The Bayelsa state government has directed the preparation for higher grounds to serve as refuge should the flood come. Correspondent Ebinimi Zitimiola reports.
Echoes of the devastations of the 2022 flood lingers. Bayelsa State is susceptible to perennial flooding, merely on account of the state lying below sea level. Its location as the gateway for the Niger and Benue rivers to empty into the Atlantic Ocean is another factor. Climate change has also added to the issue. This situation is worsened by man-made factors such as poor town planning. There are no good drainage system and poor environmental attitudes. Some residents dump refuse in the drains as well as non-adherence to regulations.
The drains are just like a reservoir. They are flowing to nowhere. We have said the first thing to do is do a drainage master plan. A drainage master plan. The essence of that is, in a particular area, where should the drains empty into?
Previous predictions by NIMET of impending flood disaster has prompted the Bayelsa state government to activate administrative and legislative actions. Canals and drainages are being opened up. A steering committee on flood and erosion control has been set up, while a bill for the preservation of the environment has also been presented to the State House of Assembly. Already, the filling of the premises of the Nigerian Television Authority (NTA) Yenagua by the Bayelsa state government is in progress to avert flooding whenever it rains.
Notwithstanding these measures, it is saddening to see that landowners and property developers continue to violate the Yenagua master plan by building properties indiscriminately.
A situation blamed on the lack of political will by successive governments to enforce town planning regulations.
We've never had much problems with the quality of our laws. You are not supposed to build without an approved plan. You are not supposed to build in certain areas. The problem has always been with implementation.
The Bayelsa state government, in a recent meeting with relevant stakeholders, directed its Directorate on Flood and Erosion Control to identify structures built on natural canals in the metropolis for possible demolition. Also, the preparation of higher grounds to serve as relief camps is considered.
Build culverts. Like I told you, the flood of 2022 came to teach us how to introduce drainages in our roads and in our environment. So now people should clear those drainages. Nothing stops a community from even just putting a drainage channel, putting iron pipes to allow flow.
In addition to effective town planning, the need for regular desilting of water causeways and dredging of rivers to accommodate more volume of water is also advocated.
You are in or out of government, you do not block water channels. We should have special channels created purposely, consciously, for water.
Will minimize the flow of the floods and also be used as sources of power generation. But nothing had been done. So I'm calling on state governments and the federal government to start immediately the construction of the proposed dam.
I quite agree with you, Ebinimi. It takes conscientious efforts for government and residents to work together to minimize the effects of the disaster. Many thanks. And now to digital economy. The first ever National Digital Economy and E-Government Bill is in the offing and expected to be passed into law before the end of 2024. Now, the bill facilitators at the National Assembly are now working with the Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy to see that they engage all Nigerians in the enactment process for a bill that seeks to deepen the use of digital technology in all aspects of the economy to facilitate economic growth. ICT correspondent Chimdima Ndubisi reports.
In this era where transactions or activities are based on digital technology, ICT has come to be recognized as the fulcrum for the existence and increased productivity of all sectors, a catalyst for national prosperity. Rules, regulations have been there quite all right to guide certain aspects and conduct in the ICT ecosystem, but there hasn't been an all-encompassing national law that will govern activities of both public and private actors, as well as participants in the digital space. So, the National Assembly Committees on ICT and Cybersecurity are taking the bull by the horn by coming up with the National Digital Economy and E-Governance Bill, structured into 16 parts with more than 60 sections, which has passed first reading. The Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy is in full support.
Part of the thing that we will also begin to look at is the local content. Local content not only just in terms of the oil and gas sector, local content in terms of whatever skills and solutions exist locally, they should be patronized before foreign software or foreign solutions are brought into the country at the expense of our foreign reserves. So there will be a number of job opportunities, because more automation that you have means that more opportunities will be created.
The National Digital Economy and E-Governance Bill is a comprehensive legislation that seeks to establish a regulatory state framework for our digital economy, promote digital literacy and skills development, enhance cybersecurity, and encourage innovation and entrepreneurship. We believe that this bill has the potential to unlock Nigeria's digital potential, create new opportunities for economic growth, and improve the lives of our citizens. We also establish a digital entrepreneurship hub to support startups. We will implement e-governance solution to enhance transparency, accountability, and citizen participation in government.
Globally, there's a shortage in the workforce for technology. What this bill is catered for, which if you check the fact sheets that has been given out, you will see under the, I think it's under the structure of the bill, is digital literacy. So the goal is that both the ministry supported by the legal side, that as a country we can invest significantly in upskilling our people so that a lot of our people can be digitally literate. And by being so, it means that we can also then become a net exporter of technology talent. India has done it.
Part of the bill also seeks to address validity of electoral or digital transactions, utilization of digital technology to support the carriage of goods, digital government infrastructure, administration, and management. Then again, it provides framework for the use of artificial intelligence and blockchain technology for public services. The goal is to achieve digital transformation and accelerate economic growth.
That's right, Chimdima. Any bill that will accelerate economic growth will surely be facilitated by Nigerians, especially as it relates to digital technology. Many thanks. And on that note, we conclude the correspondence this week. We hope to see you again in another edition next week. From all of us here, it's bye for now.